Hello. Good morning. And while we are still in this beautiful meditative state, I invite you to sit back and enjoy. We're going to have a few minutes of a beautiful song by Deva Premal, Miten, and Manus called We Are Awakening. And the Sanskrit mantra that you will hear is Om Shanti Om, which is a grounding, universal Om, and Shanti means peace. And then Satchidananda. Satchidananda is the description of bliss, essence, that unchanging reality. And so join me as we sit back and enjoy.
We are awakening to the calling of the mystic, awakening in the flowering of the heart. Everybody here melting into presence, overflowing effervescence, rising in love. We are awakening to a long forgotten memory. Dawn is breaking, waves are coming in. Everybody here standing in wonder beneath the rain and the thunder, rising in love. Satchidananda, Om Shanti Om Shanti Satchidananda, Om Shanti Satchidananda, Om Shanti We are awakening to that perfect imperfection, awakening in the oneness of it all. Everybody here, part of each other, sister and brother, rising in love. Satchidananda, Om Shanti Om Shanti Satchidananda, Om Shanti Satchidananda, Om awakening, awakening, awakening. Oh, yeah. We are awakening.
I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. When I was really considering what to say this morning, we are awakening, and this music, this song, this video just kept coming back to me. We are awakening. For it truly feels like we are awakening. We're awakening as a society coming out of the pandemic, with people getting vaccines and being able to be around one another. We are awakening to our world again. And it is so much more important what we are awakening to than what we are awakening from. And these lyrics say so very much. We're awakening to the calling of the mystic. We're awakening to the flowering of our hearts. Awakening, opening up, it implies an alertness, an openness, a willingness to grow. And you know, our real growth is when we start checking and correcting ourselves, our thoughts, the words that we speak, instead of blaming others, when we really take the power of our lives, being responsible for our life. That's the true growth. That's the true awakening. When we awaken to the oneness that we have with one another, the oneness that we are in the world. This morning, the Zoom folks, we were talking about some of the signs of springtime. And those of us are in states where we have more of the seasons right now. We see the daffodils, and we had seen the crocus and the tulips. And even folks that I've talked to there in Key West talk about how their orchids are just thrilled for this time of the year where they are blooming. The signs of life are absolutely everywhere. And in our more northern areas, we plant those bulbs in the fall that we want to see in springtime. We plant them in the fall, and underneath the moist ground of all the layers of the leaves that have fallen, they sprout roots and stems, and they wait. They're waiting for spring to come. And it really feels a lot like the entire year of 2020 and the beginning of 2021 has been a very long winter. It's been a long time for waiting for what comes next, for when we get to move into what comes next. Denny and I have just rewatched all the Game of Thrones episodes. And if you've seen that program, you know that one of the sayings in that show is winter is coming. And they talk about winters that last for 3 years and summers that last for 8 years. And it feels like our winter lasted for about 15 months, this time of waiting for what was going to come next. And there is a term in the Tibetan tradition of Buddhism, in this tradition that believes in reincarnation. There's a term called a bardo. And that's the period of time between the passing of the life, someone has passed on, and waiting for their rebirth, their reincarnation, this time of being in that middle space when our normal life has been suspended. Well, it definitely feels to me that we have moved beyond that. Last week with our sanctuary filled to capacity, with 150 people at the beach for Easter sunrise service, with all of us celebrating our vaccines, we are out of our time of bardo, and we are moving into the space of determining what it is that we're going to create personally and for Unity of the Keys. What is this going to look like? And And today's daily word was so perfect with unlimited potentiality, with the imagination and creativity. And we get to decide what that looks like. For it truly is going to be a new normal. It is not going to look exactly like what it was in 2019 or early 2020. And that term, new normal, that was actually coined in 1918 after World War I. So we get to decide, what do we want? What are we willing to invest in? What is it that we want to create together? What's been sprouting in those roots and stems that now we're going to see come into fruition in our lives? This morning, as we turn to scripture, we're looking in the Hebrew scriptures in the Old Testament, in the book of Isaiah. And the book of Isaiah is actually 3 books. And we're looking at chapter 50, which falls into the 3rd servant song. And here in this section, there is a description of training, servants training. And there's 5 different characteristics of this servant training. The first one is to have a heart of gentleness, of sensitivity and compassion. The second, to have a trained tongue. The third is to have a hearing ear, an awakened ear. And this is truly the key to the whole training. The fourth is to have a sacrificial love. And the fifth is to have a face like flint. I believe that's going to make its way into a talk in the not too distant future. And so I share with you the 4th verse. Morning by morning, he awakens my ear to hear as those who are taught. And in some translations, it states to hear as a disciple, to have the ear that is awakened, that is willing, that is open to growth, that can hear the guidance. Now, we know that Jesus Christ, our elder brother and our way shower, spent time at the beginning of every single day in prayer and meditation, listening for the divine guidance that he knew that he would receive. And we are always being divinely guided. Each one of us, we are always being divinely guided. We are not always listening. And there are times when we are so in tune, we know exactly what is ours to do. And Jesus had to learn who he was and who he came here to be, just as each one of us are doing the same thing. For if we operate from our sense of our humanity, from our ego sense, we are not doing our Father's work. For we truly want thy will, not our own will, but the divine within us to be our guide in all that we do. And we can't listen to that divine guidance if we've already made up our mind, if our ideas are fixed, if we're not open to the fluidity, to be able to adapt and to truly listen. Well, this morning, I'd like to share with you 2 spiritual tools. Now, we have in Unity a plethora and abundance of spiritual tools that aid us in our continued awakening, that aid us in our spiritual maturity, for we are all on a journey to spiritual wholeness. We are all traveling this path of finding our way, of finding different ways to express our Christ consciousness. That is what we want more than anything, is to be able to express that Christ consciousness fully. And we are also human. And so to have these spiritual tools that support us in this, for we know that unity is a practical approach to spiritual living. And so I have brought with me this morning some items to help us envision this. Okay, so we have a beautiful apple and a bowl of grapes. These are our spiritual tools. We know these things are good for us. We know that as we practice these principles, as we take these spiritual tools and use them to change our thoughts and change our behaviors, that they are good for us. We are also human, and nothing against Hershey. But this represents our heaviness of our humanness. That sometimes let's take a situation where we've been offended. We know we can work on our forgiveness practices, okay? That is really what we want to do. And yet sometimes it's really delicious to hang on to that resentment and bitterness until we're ready to forgive, until we're ready to let go. So this morning we're going to look at two very tried and true practices within unity. And the first one is meditation. Now, this is our fourth basic unity principle. Through prayer and meditation, we align our heart mind with God. We bring out the best in our lives. We align with our good when we spend time in meditation. Meditation is foundational to unity beliefs. Charles Fillmore states in The Revealing Word that meditation is to expand the consciousness Christward, meaning turning within, to bring into realization divine truth, to be transformed in spirit, soul, and body by the renewing of the mind. The prayer and meditation are the renewing of the mind. Well, in our January and February class, meditation practices, we explored various techniques for meditation, and we had great fun. And we committed to trying new ways of meditating. And we also committed to setting aside time in order to do so. Understanding also that life sometimes gets in the way. And that reminds me of a Zen quote that says that you are to meditate, we are all to meditate at least 20 minutes a day, every single day, unless we're very busy, and then we should meditate for 1 hour. So we've all read and we've seen the studies that tell us the benefits of meditation, that it increases our sense of peace and it decreases our stressors in our life, that it increases our emotional health and it decreases anxiety. It enhances self-awareness. It can actually reduce memory loss. It generates kindness, and it can even help fight addictions. It improves our sleep. It controls pain. It reduces our blood pressure, and it's free. It's everywhere, anywhere. We can meditate anytime we choose. And with all that said, meditation is a personal decision. Each one of us are on our journey or on our path or on the spectrum of meditating every day for 20 minutes. We are somewhere in there. Maybe we meditate once a week. Maybe meditate every day for 5 minutes. We're all on that spectrum. It's the commitment that we make to ourselves, for we know it is in our highest good to do so. And there is no meditation police. It's a personal decision. For all of our spiritual tools are invitations. They are invitations to try something. They are invitations of practices to change our way of previous living so that we can live more fully our Christ consciousness, so that we can absolutely love out loud. Now, the second spiritual tool is also tried and true, and it begins with a T. And it is the practice of tithing. Okay, now I want everybody to take a breath and just breathe. And to try to have your heart remain as open and as light as when we were looking at meditation. To tithe is to give 10%. And we find the reference to tithing in the Old Testament. And we don't find in the New Testament, we don't find Jesus speaking directly to tithing, but he also says he is not here to change the law. He was here to enhance the law. Well, tithing was practiced almost universally through all the ancient world: Babylonia, Persia, Egypt, Rome, even China. And in unity, We teach that we tithe to where we are personally, spiritually fed, to a person, place, or institution that nourishes us spiritually, and to where we want to see that person, place, or institution continue in their work. I always encourage that tithing should be fun, it should be creative, it should be imaginative. And Unity of the Keys also varies how they give their tithing. Unity of the Keys tithes every single week to all of their income and are very transparent about that. And we do have a specific institutions that we give to on a regular basis, such as Silent Unity, 24-hour prayer ministry, and Unity Worldwide Spiritual Institute. But we also have weeks where we carve out part of the tithe to, for instance, a New Thought musician. Or when I was with you previously, we had once a month a minister's tithe where we carved out and tithe to a person that I would indicate had supported me and inspired me in the work that I was doing to create talks for you. And some of you may recall that's actually how Nemo became associated with us. We contacted Empty Hands Music for an address so that we could send a tithe. And it came to be that he came to see us, and now he comes to see Unity of the Keys every year. It is also how Unity of the Keys talks, 4 of them were featured on a nationally acclaimed author's website. We reached out to Paul Smith when I did the series on the 3 faces of God for an address. We let him know about his work, and he featured our talks at Unity of the Keys on his website. It is exciting, and it should be totally freeing to participate in this law of circulation, this law of giving and receiving. Those are the benefits that we know are part of the process of tithing. When we freely participate, we are opening our heart and our mind to that infinite potential. It unleashes the potentiality in all areas of our lives. And yes, it takes a commitment that you make to yourself. And just like meditation, we are all on the journey of tithing. We are somewhere on that spectrum. And we hold the goal of tithing, true tithing, is 10% or even greater. And there are many in our congregation who do that, and we are so blessed for that. And it's a personal decision. We're all on that journey. We're all on that path. And there is no tithing police. It is a personal commitment. And if you looked at the video that was on the eBlast link this past week and the week before, you know that today we are rolling out the Surprise Abundance Unexpected Blessings program. This is a simple, fun, and truly relatively painless way to approach tithing. Now, those of you who are already committed to tithing, that is wonderful. This commitment to tithing is only on additional money, unexpected money that you receive. Let's say you go to the mailbox and there's a check from your aunt. She sent you $100. Well, if you're participating in this program, then you would give $10 to Unity of the Keys. It is, it's fun, it's imaginative, for it opens up your eyes, your heart, your mind to all the ways you are blessed all the time. And when you came in today, you may have received one of these little brochures for the Surprise Abundance program. And it's very simple. There's 5 steps. The first one is you simply say, yes, I want to do this. I commit to tithing to Unity of the Keys, the extra money that I receive. You simply say yes. You fill out the little form, and there is a form online as well, so that we know who is participating. And the reason for that is step 2. You affirm every day the prayers that are on the back of the brochure. And the prayer team is saying these prayers for you also. And they are regularly updated on who's participating in the program so that they can hold you in prayer. And the third step is to know that you are the place where divine supply appears, where it shows up, and that you're willing to tithe on the extra that you receive. And the fourth step is that you remain sensitive to the movement of ideas in your consciousness. You remain sensitive to how you're being blessed. And then the fifth step is to simply express your true nature. Your true nature is one of generosity. We are meant to be giving freely individuals, free from fear. And so I knew that this was, that I would be rolling this program out. So I've actually been keeping my little tally since January. And today I am able to tally that for January, February, and March, in addition to the economic stimulus check, which that was separate and apart, and I've already written my check for my 10% on that. In addition to that, I received $1,136.50 of surprise abundance in January, February, and March. And I have a check here for Unity of the Keys for $113.65. So how did that happen? I will give you some examples. When I was a student, I had my insurance through the marketplace, and I received a check in January for $86 for, they had some sort of an overage. And I tallied that up on my little piece of paper and said, okay, $8.60 to Unity of the Keys. I ordered something online and I found a discount of $7. Okay, that's 70 cents to Unity of the Keys. My insurance company has a program called Over the Counter, where they send me a credit every quarter for $25 to order my vitamins and my supplements online. Okay, well, that's every quarter, that's $2.50 to Unity of the Keys. Denny and I refinanced our house, and we received a refund at closing, and that's $9.80 to Unity of the Keys. And we also had an escrow refund of almost $700. So that's $69.25 to Unity of the Keys. I had an Amazon coupon for $10. So when I placed my order, there was another $1 to Unity of the Keys. For the class that I taught, the meditation practices, I received a love offering of $180. So there's $18 for Unity of the Keys. You see how it adds up when we are aware and open to all the blessings that we receive. And if you saw the little video clip that I did, I talked about, you meet a friend for lunch and they unexpectedly pick up the tab. 10% of what that would have been, you can put on your little tally sheet. I invite you to join in this program. We're doing it for April, May, and June, and we'll be reporting each month on just some of the fun ways that people have experienced the awareness of how they are blessed all the time. For we are awakening to the calling of the mystic, and that mystic is within you. We are awakening to the flowering of our hearts, each one of us. We are awakening to the glory of our lives. We are awakening to the glory of our loves, to the love that we are, for the expression of the Christ consciousness, the expression of our truth. It is my joy, my blessing to be with you on this journey, and so it is. Amen.